Hi guys, welcome back to Views from the Yale. So we've got some new and some returning transfer rumours that popped up over the last few days. A couple of players who previously been linked to Wrexham, they've re-emerged as potential transfer targets, and a new one coming from an in-the-know source. Of course, before we go into the main part of the video, if you're new around here, it'd be great if you subscribe to the channel. That'd be greatly appreciated. Right, so the first player we're going to go into was actually a player that was linked to us actually a few months ago, and I actually made a video where I mentioned that he was potentially linked to Wrexham, and that is from Southend, Jack Bridge. So he's a midfielder. So he was linked a few months ago, like I mentioned. Southend have had a fair few financial issues to say the least, and he's one of the players that were linked to us a while ago, and there's been mentioning from the Southend side that we were looking at him. Not necessarily saying he was first choice for Wrexham, but obviously he's a player that Wrexham have been looking at. And of course it's a good thing that Wrexham are still looking at players from the National League that could step up and do a good job for Wrexham, because perhaps it's not a good idea. They're always going to be looking for players higher up who are a bit more expensive. Probably a good idea to look for bargains that could do a good job for Wrexham for a season or two, which makes sense. And apparently there was mentioned that he missed the first day of pre-season training for Southend, but then was back in the following day. So I know Parkinson's obviously in discussions with other clubs, and Southend is still having financial issues. It wouldn't be a surprise if Wrexham have been looking at players from Southend who could do the job. Obviously, we do know that he's been looking at Nick Powell, who's more of an attack midfielder. I understand that Jack Bridge is more of a defensive side, but he's looking for someone to play on that right side of midfield. Probably would be a good signing for Wrexham, but might not be, like I said, not exactly first choice, but maybe one if some of the targets don't quite end up signing for Wrexham. Perhaps we'll wait and see what happens to that one. Another one that was mentioned, that we actually mentioned a few days ago, to be honest, as a potential option that was raised by First and Devotion, but this one's brought up again by Rob Ryan Red in that related podcast that the sources say that it would be linked with Declan John of Bolton. There was the mention that we were interested in a player who was doing pre-season training in Portugal. That's where Bolton have been doing their pre-season training, and apparently we're interested in Declan John from Bolton. Again, a position that Wrexham have been interested in. Left wing back position, probably challenging with Mendy. Like I said previously, how would that affect McFadden? So we'd have 3 left wing backs. Well, actually 4 with McAlinden. Maybe Parks would quite like to have quite a few options there. And we do get 7 subs in League 2, and there are Johnston's the EFL Trophy and the League Cup as well. So it could still be plenty of rotation going through the season. Still would be it would be an upgrade on McFadden, and it was certainly probably better than Mendy as well. Considering that Mendy started to get into things towards the end of the season, it would be a shame if he was pushed out for Declan John. But yeah, that would be an interesting one. I mean, it's also interesting because he has played for Wales, a few times. Not recent last few years. I guess dropping down to League 1 and then probably down to League 2 is probably not going to help him really, the competition he's got. I wonder how that would affect the likes of maybe Mullins. The campaign to get Mullins into the Wales team. That would be quite an interesting one. But the big one that's been coming out recently, that's one that in the know posters have mentioned, is another Bolton player, and that's George Johnston. So he plays for Bolton, same as Declan John. He's been pretty much a regular for Bolton the last couple of seasons, and has also played plenty of games for Wigan in the previous year in League 1. I think Bolton fans are a bit concerned if he was to go, and if he be the left-sided centre-back, replacing Harry Lennon. I think he probably would be first choice as well. Would you have a back three of Johnston, Tozer, and O'Connell or Hayden? That's a tough one to ask. I mean, what do you think if Johnston was to sign? What would be our back three centre-back lineup? That'd be a tough one. Obviously, it's Hayden has had injury problems. What about Tunnicliffe and Cleworth as well? That's an interesting one. We'd have plenty of high quality centre backs. I mean, in this situation, if he does sign, I would think Cleworth would probably go out on loan, which would probably be good for his development. But let me know what you think with all that. So that's 3 players with recent links to Wrexham. What do you think of those 3 players? It'd be great if you could let me know what you think of those. I know there hasn't been that much talk about a striker in these last few rumours that pop up, but there's plenty of time for those sort of things to arrive. Also, if you made this far, it'd be great if you could subscribe to the channel. I'm recently passed 500 subscribers, so it'd be great if we could push on even further. But thanks for taking the time to listen to this. Please subscribe, and we'll chat to you soon. Thanks, bye-bye.